What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Today's show day chat. I'm only streaming for a couple hours, but we gonna get through some of the shit. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to leave y'all in the afternoon to go do the show, but we gonna get through at least the top of Cassie's testimony. Today's a day. I wish today was tomorrow, low key, that I could have nothing for the show day and be able to cover this Cassie shit all day. Anyway, wait, what am I looking for? Where's my Red Bulls at? Yeah, I ain't got no coffee this morning. I'm gonna get coffee when I'm done streaming. Okay, yo, tell me why I got up listening to motherfucking Dej Loaf today, yo. And I realized Dej Loaf was on that Kanye shit, man. She said, I really hate niggas. I'm a Nazi. I remember Dej Loaf. Whatever happened to her? I don't know why I woke up listening to some Dej Loaf.
You know, today we're living in one of the most extraordinary times to be alive. The resources we have are extraordinary. If you went back to a place like 1920 and people...
That's when, y'all remember when Dej Loaf was with Dirk? That's when Dirk was in the soft boy era. Is that a thing? Soft boy era. I'm going to take a little sip of alcohol. I ain't going to go too crazy, though. Where my bottle? I think it's upstairs. What the fuck? It's all good. All right, chat. Welcome. We are getting right into it. I believe everybody's in court. They're actually addressing Diddy's lawyers right now. The judge is addressing Diddy's lawyers. So we're going to get off to the races pretty quick. It appears that Diddy's lawyers, all 9 of them, worked all night, kind of like I did, till 3 o'clock to come up with a bunch of excerpts and exhibits, because what they're planning to do is to go at Cassie's head. They're trying to take her cranium off, okay? Now, apparently they dumped 400 exhibits that they plan to use. So remember I told y'all, Cassie gonna be on the stand. She might give labor on the stand. She might go into labor on the stand, right? We kind of came to the understanding last night. Yo, the most likely reason why she is the third witness in a case scheduled for 8 weeks. She testified and took the stand in day 2 or day 3, actually. Day 2, actually. She took the stand in day 2. The only thing that makes sense is that if they wait towards the end of the trial, she might go into labor. We're hearing that she's probably 8 months pregnant. She could go any day, right? And I'm guessing maybe any week. So they want to get her early, that everything could be finished with her, that she don't got to come back. Okay? Now, there is times that sometimes a witness do got to come back. But, you know, they at least want to get her direct cross, redirect, and also recross. Okay, so let's kind of start this off. But what I'm telling you about the 400 exhibits, they're going to meticulously sit there and comb through a lot of shit with Cassie, right? All right, bet. I'm going to play my man's vlog before he starts, and then we already are in court with some of the stuff. I don't think Cassie has walked out yet, but they're arguing about, you know, the AUSA is tight at Diddy's lawyer saying, yo, what's up? You can't keep dumping 400 pages of like exhibits on me the morning of. Like, what the hell are we doing? Like, you got to give me some notice. And Diddy's lawyers are saying, how the hell could we give you notice? Y'all went yesterday with Cassie. We are preparing our defense. We stayed up overnight, came up with 400 things that we need her to respond to, and we gave it to y'all this morning. There's no other time we could have gave it to you, right? Because we're reactionary. We're the defense, okay? Here's my man.
Okay, here we are. Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here in the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Thursday, May 15th, 2025, we're covering the Sean Combs trial. It's misty out here, but we're going in early. Why? Because after yesterday, the direct examination of Cassie Ventura ended. There could have been cross-examination. It was only 4 o'clock, but they got into it.
It's not my birthday yet, chat. The birthday is on the 17th. My birthday's on the 17th, so my birthday's in 2 days.
A big dispute about what the
and I'm turning 30.
Cross-examination can include. Can it include prior sexual acts? It involved Mr. Mark Agnifilo, lead counsel for Sean Combs, saying, if you were just going to say, are you effing somebody, that's not about an act. It's just a colloquial way that people say, are you cheating on me? And jealousy is a big part of the defense. The prosecutors and lawyers for the victims, including Douglas Wigdor, who was on the scene, said, no, you cannot ask about these prior acts. And there's a specific federal rule of evidence about it.
Okay, so that's why they were getting to the federal rule of evidence. Douglas Wigdor, who's on the scene, I have an interesting question. I'll post to some whatever litigator that's actually there, or if we ever get the inside scoop. Remember, we got the confirmation. Cassie got $20 million. So remember, she wanted 30, files a lawsuit, she gets 20, right? I would think how these usually work, the lawyer get like 30 to 40%. Okay, I think in this case he probably got 30%. 30% of $20 million at $6 million. That's a heist. That's a heist. Now I have to believe he's not charging her to be at this trial. Keep in mind, he got the settlement already, so he's good. But I guarantee, you just got her the bag. You want to make sure the bag is still secured. So now she's going through this. I guarantee he's showing up right here. It's not necessarily pro bono, but I think he's using that $6 million. Like, I'm gonna just use that as payment. So her civil attorney is showing up. I don't know if it's for emotional support, even though supposedly she's the dude is offering some legal support to Cassie. And I gotta imagine the 6 M's he pocketed. So the way it goes, Cassie would get 14 M's. He gets 16. He gets 6 M's. Okay. When all these lawyers, the ambulance chasing ones, even the ones that don't, I don't think Douglas Wigdor is an ambulance chasing lawyer. They all want their 30 to 40%. That's why they're going dumb hard. Okay. Some I've heard some lawyers only get 20%, depending on the amount. But anyway, let's say 30%. $6 million. Yeah, I'd probably show up too. Rain, sleet, or snow. I'm with nigga. I might be with Cassie in the goddamn delivery room for $6 million. Holy.
So that it's all very interesting. The problem with it is that they're saying it can only be resolved in the robing room out of the public view. So we're heading in to cover, I guess, from the outside but we will be definitely covering the cross-examination in some detail. There's a lot of things going on. We put them up. We put some analysis on Substack. We put some documents on Patreon, and we're going to be back.
Why I keep saying I'm pushing 40? I'm definitely not pushing 40. Don't push a decade on me, okay? I'm just gonna go towards the decade I'm closer to.
Back, tweeting away. There's also extra subscribers for a little bit of analysis. In any event, this is the big thing here. As you'll see when we get to the courthouse, there's a huge. Late last night, there were people camped out in tents and little pods. So it's something else, is all I can say. I was just thinking this morning, imagine if Combs were not in detention, it would be a mob scene with people yelling Diddy in the front. Now, there are other cases, and we're covering them closely. On the New York corruption beat, Sacavino, interestingly enough, the man from the fire department, the government was only asking for 30 months. Not only, but they were asking for this selling of expedited review. Of course, some mayoral debates, but 9 to 5 at least, it's all Diddy. Now, in a sort of bigger world, SDNY judge Hellerstein, who it was wheeled out to him, the Tren de Aragua / Alien Enemies Act case, flown out of the SDNY. So there's that. We cover the United Nations. David.
Yeah. Matthew Russell does a really good job. Salute to him. All right. Bet. We are locked in. And this is what's going to be happening in court. And we are in court. Okay. So this is the cross-examination. Let me make this a little bit smaller for y'all. By the way, I want everybody to check in. Where are you repping? What the fuck is this? Is it that? Where are you repping? Where are you from? What you doing? Shout out to all my truck drivers, man. This is hopefully y'all niggas not in traffic, man. I fucking hate traffic. Anyway, cool. Let's see. All right. So this is before the cross-examination. They're just handling some really, they got to handle these matters before you bring in the witness. And of course, then the jury says, so Cassie's lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, I told y'all, listen, at minimum, let me even take that money down, right? At minimum, he got $4 million. That's 20%. Like, no lawyer is going to represent you in a possible legal proceeding unless you're just paying them flat out. And keep in mind, Cassie was broke. So Cassie was broke is a joke. And I'm pretty sure they probably looked at Cassie and said, yo, if you asking for 30, we don't even want to pay up front. Just give us a percentage of what we get for you because we about to go at this thing. Okay? So let's say even 20%. That's $4 million. So 20% would be 4. 30% would be 6. So Douglas Wigdor, he realized he got to be up in there. Chat, it's not my birthday. It's my birthday in 2 days. All right, it's my birthday. Fuck it. It's my birthday. Cool. It's my birthday. All right. It's my birthday show. Okay, cool. So before the cross-examination, right? So Cassie's lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, gets up there and says, listen, I got a right to be a part of the meet and confer. about which evidence can be requested or questioned about. She's the only victim witness that is standing under Rule 412. Let's see. Rule 412. Oh, it's a federal rule of evidence. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, her lawyer is pushing for his input in this criminal case. And granted, this isn't between Sean Combs, Cassie, and the government. It's between Sean Combs and the government. However, he's trying to protect Cassie. Honestly, I keep telling you, I think there's a bunch of things that haven't been brought to light. And as much as we're hearing embarrassing things about Cassie, I do think they have made sure, I think AUSA alike, and also her lawyer is making sure that certain things probably still don't get out of there. I know you think everything's being bore all, but I don't think that's the case at all. The judge says we got to move forward. So it look like they're kind of like shooing away Cassie's lawyer. Like, get the fuck out of here, nigga. All right. Any other issues, Ms. Slavic? And this is the AUSA. It says, as we noted in our email to the court early this morning, and it says, no, judicial documents are not put out in the public document. It says, we might get a sign from Miss Estavo who will cross. Okay, so now we figure out who will cross. So Miss Estavo, let's Google her again. Diddy Estavo. So this is a woman who is going to be Estavo. Am I saying the name wrong? Probably, right? Let's see.
Is this the best survival game ever made?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized.
So I want to Google the lawyer that's going to be doing this heavy lifting. Okay, Anna Estavo. By the way, she's from a New York firm, Harris. Oh, I don't know. That looks like some Russian last name. Let me just Google her real quick. Anna Estavo. This is her right here, chat. This is her. I mean, it's fitting. You're going against 6 white women. You get your own white woman. Fuck it. You got to get your own white woman to combat the white, man. It's milk on milk violence, man. Milk of magnesia, or it could be almond milk. I don't give a damn. Diddy probably said, Brian Steele, you chill. You're a pit bull. Mark Agnifilo, you said I got a baby off from Costco. You shut up too. And probably looked at, he has a black attorney and says, hell no. Hell no. You look like the nigga who I used to bring in the room to fuck Cassie. You seen the guy. You seen the sketch of the porn star, right? Philip? He's a bald guy now. Got like a little, hammerhead. Pause. Extra pause in that. But he's like 40s. He's in his 40s now. And he's the guy who was the jury sees as the male escort. So I could imagine he's like, yeah, I don't want my black lawyer now questioning her. So let me just use this woman. And I would imagine this got to be a strategy that was planned from the get-go. This ain't no, let's plan this at 4:00 last night. I got to imagine this was months ahead where they're like, yo, what are we going to do on Cassie's cross? And they probably planned this out carefully. They probably did mock examinations. When you get to trials like this of this magnitude, right, especially ones where, I think this is the biggest moment in the trial, of course, unless Diddy takes the stand. If Diddy takes the stand, internet shut down. Facts. That would be one of the biggest moments ever, right? In at least, let's say, entertainment, television, court type of shit. But that remains to be seen. Right now, this is pretty much the biggest moment in this case. So I would imagine they hired her just for this, right? And it looks like this team of litigators, everybody has a role. We're seeing everybody jump in. Xavier was objecting, and he was the main one who was going over was it Flora? I think it was Flores. It was Flores, but it might have been Philip, which was a sex worker. That was his part. Then he got out of there. We saw Brian Steele handled Flores, actually. So we had Xavier who did Philip. So the second witness, which is Julian Phillip or whatever his name is, not Julian Phillip, I'm sorry. Daniel Phillip. That's the sex worker. They used to call him Jules. Xavier Donaldson handled that. Brian Steele handled the first guy. And then we keep hearing either objections or potential appellate issues get brought up by Alexandra Shapira. I'm not going to lie. His team, everybody has a role. It's not just 9 lawyers all trying to do the same thing. We all know if anybody watches basketball or shit, if you watch even football, if everybody needs the ball to shoot, you probably ain't going to have a team that win. Word to LeBron. You get what I'm saying? You need the people who are, I'm gonna just be in the corner. I'm the person I'm only here to get rebounds. And it appears that Diddy's team seems kind of organized where everybody is jumping in. We haven't heard too much about her until she was carving out and prepping what they could ask Cassie. So I guess her job is to do the cross. Now, here's the thing. There could be another attorney, or they could switch places when it comes to recross. But we'll see. So cool. So now we know I'm gonna fuck up her name every time. Estavo will be doing the cross. Slavic then says the defense last night dumped 400 exhibits on us. This can't continue. Not during the whole trial. And the judge says, Mrs. Stavo, what's up, yo? And she then says, we've been working tirelessly in response to Mrs. Ventura's testimony. The judge then says, Mark. Now, Mark is supposedly the lead, right? Even though we haven't seen him really do any work other than address the judge. He hasn't cross-examined any of these witnesses, okay? The judge says, Mark, I thought you were going to take this off my plate, right? The judge did have a conversation with Mark at the beginning of the trial. Mark starts to say, this is Mark Agnifilio, says, I will keep trying, but this is the main witness, Judge. She stands by herself. We've been doing this all night until 3 a.m. We flagged exhibits for them, meaning the prosecutor. Slavic then says, there are 24 exhibits that the government has objections to. They're listed in the chart. The judge says, just the one in the chart. Again, these are judicial documents. They're not going into the public docket. And yeah, okay, cool. So now looks like they get past those issues rather quickly. They say bring the jury in, and the jury then enters the court. Obviously, Cassie is entering the court as well. Cassie's sworn in. The jury is sworn in, and basically they're beginning. So this is the start of Cassie being cross-examined. So it's like they say, Miss Ventura, did you love Diddy? She said, I did. They said, for 11 years, did you take care of him? She said, in some ways. Estavo then says, did you call him larger than life? She then says, I did. Okay. All right. Now, again, we're going to be waiting about 2 to 3 minutes between every update. At times, he's able to type. I don't know how he's able to type this in court. We learned yesterday that they're taking your phones when you walk in the court. So when you walk in the court, they're taking your phones. So somehow he's able to scribe this, and I think he has a special access because he's fought so much cases of lack of transparency and media privilege. He's always in SDNY, which is that court, that federal court, and he's fought he's raised so many motions and fought so many cases, especially against the UN, the United Nations, that he's allowed, or I don't know how allowed, but he has some type of either carve out or he has some type of device, right, that he could tweet all this out. So we really only have one source, which is him, until the other people who are in there taking notes, they come out of the courtroom, and then we could go to a couple of the different sources and see what they're saying. You get what I'm saying? So until then, we really only have this. And by the way, this is not only for us. NBC News, Law and Crimes, CNN, E! News, they're all using this guy. Everybody sources this guy because no one is allowed to have a phone or electronic device in there to be able to give their own versions. You're allowed to take notes, pen and paper. That's it. So we'll be waiting. Okay. It says others called him Diddy or Puff Daddy, but you called him Sean, right? She said yes. Estavo says, you knew a version of him that the world couldn't see, right? Then the AUSA says objection. The judge says overruled. Ventura says, in what ways? Now, I think we're watching how Estavo is trying to set this up. She's establishing, you loved him, you viewed him a certain way. We don't know where she's going yet, but clearly this is the strategy to set up what we're anticipating to be a long cross-examination process of Cassandra Ventura. Remember, Diddy affectionately used to call her Cece, which stood for Cassandra Combs, even though you could tell he had no plans to get married to her. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, can't stop, won't stop, huh? Yeah, we're gonna see how this is. Let me tell you this all-star lineup, if not for the result, we don't know what the result of this is going to be, but what Diddy is paying for all these lawyers to be here on trial all the paralegals, investigators, the ancillary people, administrative people. That's what comes with every time you hire one of these people that come from a high-powered firm. You're going to get access to their paralegals. You're going to get access to their administrative people. So you're compounding a team that is scouring. Like, if they're all, you got to remember, right at this moment, they're working 24 hours. You know, a lot of lawyers work off billable hours, right? You know, word to my man PBD, because this is true. I know, because I see the bills. when I get on the phone with my attorneys for 20 minutes, they charge you for an hour. So when you see, like, what the fuck? A $1,200 phone call? What the fuck? We just talked for 20 minutes. It is what it is. Diddy got 9 lawyers. They're also charging top dollar. Not only because they're going to charge a premium as Diddy. Brian Steele just came off dropping a smooth 81 points. He's charging top dollar. Mark Agnifilio is dropping top dollar. You have Tenny. You have all these other people. But also, then you got to think about it. Diddy's paying for a PR firm. Diddy's hemorrhaging cash right now. Not saying he doesn't have it. He did liquidate a bunch of things. And I think he prepared a war chest. Remember, he was trying to sell the plane, trying to sell the house. He also got a new mortgage. He like refinanced, so he took some equity out to get liquid that he could start paying some bills because he knew there ain't no more Ciroc or there's no more Diageo deal. The music industry shit still pays him, but like, yo, you might need some excess of cash to shut some people up, to do whatever. And trust me, there's investigators out the ass. There's lawyers out the ass. I would imagine this trial is probably costing him, gotta be like, I gotta imagine like $100K a day. This is gonna be a really, this is gonna be really one of those. If you ask me, this is just, I know I paid to, I have good lawyers. They're like top tier. But these are like not only top tier, they're celebrity lawyers. They're what you call super lawyers. So then you got to put that rate, put it plus another rate. Yes, I'm pocket watching how much Diddy spending. Yes, it's a lot. So anyway, and what I was saying is that they're working through the clock. They're working 24 hours, right? Like they're telling you we work till 3 a.m. Estavo says, you kept coming back to him for 11 years, didn't you? Cassie says, I wouldn't say coming back. That's going to be interesting, chat. Was she voluntarily returning, or was Diddy forcing her to come back? That's going to be important. And Stavo says, you believed he loved you too, didn't you? Ventura says, yes, I did believe he loved me too. Stavo then says, so when he cheated on you, did it hurt? Ventura says, not every time. Interesting answer. Not every time. Chat, you get where they're kind of going with this? They're kind of going with, I feel like the trajectory right now is, Cassie, stop the fucking bullshitting. You know you voluntarily kept coming back to this shit. You had many chances to leave. You had many chances to get out. You even admitted you dated other people. You could have ran away. You could have went to the police. You could have did all these things. This whole idea that you were scared of him, or you were scared that he might do something to you in Kid Cudi, so you went back to him. That don't make no goddamn sense. You was loving that lifestyle, wasn't you? Keep it 100. That's where they're trying to get to. Now, you got to let the woman do it. Can't let a pit bull like YSL Steel handle that, right? Cool.
She's spicy, but she's honey. She's wild, but
Here we go. Gustavo says, bring up this defense. Exhibit, and they're bringing up an exhibit now. The AUSA says, objection, which we're going to hear a lot. Because remember, you have to enter some of these things in evidence, and they're not in evidence. And remember, there's 400 new exhibits that supposedly the defense wanted to do. The judge says that's true. That's not in evidence. So because it's not in evidence, they could have her refer to it, but they can't put it up on the screen for the jury to see. It says, Miss Ventura, just read it to yourself. Why did you send this message? She says to let him know I was going to dinner. Okay. All right. We're going to see, Chad. Yeah, this is going to be the teetering point today. And I'm so sad I'm going to have to miss the second half of the day. But this is going to be the teetering point for this case, because if they start to break Cassie and they basically turn her statement yesterday or her testimony yesterday, which came across as I was hopeless, helpless, and I was down bad. I didn't know how to get out. I didn't know I was being controlled. And this guy made it feel like I was pursuing his love, but all the while he was just controlling me and he was just sex trafficking me, right? She did a good job yesterday of kind of putting that out there. She ended it with a drop mic moment. Is the pain I felt. That's why, and it was supposed to preemptively, respond to, because there's going to be a section where they say, yo, why the hell did you wait 5 years to bring up a book and ask for $30 million? Why did you wait 5 years? If you were that hurt, this and third, keep it 100. You were broke. And she wants to say, no, I tried to kill myself during the 5 years. I was hurt. This shit fucked up my life. I didn't want to live. And when I couldn't figure out any other avenue to deal with it, that's when I brought up the book. The fact that I got $20 million later and I did sue, it just kind of happened. But none of this is driven by the fact that I'm not with him anymore and I'm not in that lifestyle and I might have some monetary needs. It's all because I was a victim and my life is ruined forever because Diddy had dozens, actually, well, she said hundreds of instances, but we don't know, at least dozens of men ejaculating on her and peeing on her. Okay? So let's see. All right. It says, what was going on in these messages? What was going on when these messages were sent? She says, I'm not sure. Gustavo says, what was going on in your relationship then? She said it was early. We were loving. Gustavo says, I offer it. AUSA says, objection. Being offered for the truth. The judge actually rules with Gustavo, saying overruled. Now, this is going to be a whole back and forth game the whole time. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 20 or 30 minutes, the judge is going to call a sidebar, because what's happening is that they're showing Cassie a bunch of text messages. Remember, they got all the messages. Both sides got all the messages. They picked out new messages. So they had messages that they wanted to bring up. So those were entered into evidence. They found more messages last night, and they're showing them pictures of the messages, or it might be photos or whatever. And because it's not in evidence, the AUSA is going to say, nah, y'all ain't putting that on the screen for the jury to see. Hell no. And the judge agrees. Okay, it's not in evidence, but there's a loop, there's a go around. You could show it to her, and if she doesn't repeat what's on there, right, you could have a conversation about what she has seen. You get what I'm saying? So it's a roundabout way, and this is where the AUSA is kind of pushing back on this. Gustavo is kind of trying to get her way, and the judge is going to either have to overrule or sustain it every single time. So now it's a real back and forth game. It's like tennis at this point. So we're going to see how this gets played, right? Now, also, you got to remember, Cassie said it was early in the relationship. She did testify very early in the relationship. Things seemed like pretty perfect. It's a honeymoon phase, chat, right? It's a honeymoon phase. 7 years in, she had claimed that she voiced frustration to him, like, yo, all we do is freak offs. You get what I'm saying? It's like, y'all ever get with a new chick, and for that first like week or month, y'all together, y'all doing X, Y, Z, y'all all over the place, y'all outside. Man, you with this chick for 2 years, man. You're like, man, leave me alone. I'm playing the game. We ain't doing nothing for 3 weeks. That's just what it is. So it looks like they got into a routine, but at least up front, Diddy was probably whining and dining, showing her a good time. She was buying into this, like, oh, this is going to be life forever. And 6 months into the relationship, or maybe a year, she gets introduced to this idea of freak offs. They do a freak off once. And I would imagine Diddy didn't say, let's do it again the next day. He probably chilled 2 months later, maybe knowing freaky ass nigga Diddy. He probably waited like a good 2 weeks and then be like, all right, let's do it again. And then it probably got more and more frequent, and they stopped doing all of the other things that she probably was interested as, like, you remember she was a 22-year-old girl at that point. Now her life was all revolving around the freak offs, and she tells him 7 years later, like, yo, bro, all we're doing is fucking. Like, what are we doing? Right? Now, this is, And this is where I'm going to ask you guys, do you think this constitutes sex trafficking? Because what I think what Diddy was kind of doing was like what a lot of guys do to a certain extent. I'm not saying every guy does what Diddy does. As things became more mundane later in the relationship and all they're doing is freak offs, Diddy is starting to almost like let her know, don't worry, like, yo, you're Cassie Combs, like almost giving her that false hope, like, nah, don't worry about that. We finna get married, like we gonna lock in. And that's the type of thing that I believe she was always having that hope that she was going to either have kids for Diddy. You know, we heard Roger Bond say that she would ask other people to be like, yo, could you try to bring it up to Sean about getting married to me or having a kid with me? Like, she wanted that. So Diddy realized how desperately she wanted that. And I guess maybe the thirst of her wanting a career also kind of started to dwindle because Diddy was killing that opportunity. Like, Diddy literally killed her career. It's pretty much facts. Now, you could make that argument and say, well, he gave her a career. That's probably. Did she have that Me and You song before Diddy? I think she did. She had it with Ron Leslie, ain't she? Anyway, let's see if we got another tweet. So what I took from it was early, we were loving, is that she was like, that's a honeymoon phase, right? Gustavo says, could you please read? Ventura says, I wrote, I love you. Smiley face, I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you, Cass. Now, this is a good strategy to start out. How you claim you're getting sex trafficked? You didn't want to go to these places. You didn't want to do any type of freak offs. You were doing it against your will. But you're sending him messages saying, I love you. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you. Now, again, there's still a way to look at this like, hey, she's being coerced. Even though she says this, she's saying this under duress. But whatever, I'll digress on that point. Let's keep it going. Gustavo establishes that this is a 2009 email. And AUSA says, objection, hearsay. The judge says, Gustavo, ask more questions, please. Again, you're going to keep hearing these objections. And I'm telling you, he's going to go to a sidebar eventually, or at lunch, they're going to argue more about, yo, what's up with these exhibits, right? Gustavo says, from BlackBerry, what is BG? BG is baby girl. Okay, baby girl. Okay. All right. One thing, and y'all tell me if this is game or maybe this was an attempt at control and manipulation. You let me know. Diddy would have these nicknames for her, and Diddy required her to call him these affectionate nicknames as well. For example, he would call her Cece. He would call her baby girl. She had to call him Pop Pop. Is that game or is that a sort of control? Remember, the nickname Pop Pop comes from her grandfather's nickname, and he supposedly had asked her, what do you refer to your grandfather as? She says, well, I refer to my grandfather as Pop Pop. And he says, you should call me Pop Pop. Remember, Roger Bonds also told us that Diddy was having a conversation with Cassie's dad and checked Cassie's dad and said, I'm her father now. Is that game, some player shit, or is that control shit? Somebody said, nah, it's just being in a relationship. Okay. All right. Okay. Someone says they watch trafficking documentaries that happen in Romania. And he says, based on what he watches about those trafficking documentaries that happen in Romania and how sex trafficking works, he says he's seen similarities in this and he believes this is trafficking. Now, I don't know if it's the same laws. Remember, Andrew Tate also was accused of sex trafficking in Romania, and they accused him of using what they call the lover boy method. I don't know if that's necessarily in U.S. law where they could like use it in an indictment, but the lover boy method is kind of selling the dream. What regular niggas and players would call selling the dream. You tell a chick like, yo, I can't wait for you to have my kids. Yo, I can't wait till we get married. We gonna buy a house, move in. We gonna move to We gonna move to LA. We gonna do this. Like you super up so much. She's like, oh my God, take the pussy, whatever you want. I'll kiss your feet, whatever. Like I just want that dream you done sold me. And then basically in the back of your mind, you be like, yo, bitch, we ain't never gonna get there. I'm just trying to get the box. That is a part that's seen as manipulation. And if it's done in a certain way, right, where you either extract money from that person or you extract just sexual services in a trafficking way, that could be, that manipulation there is something that prosecutors could use in making their case. You get me? But I've seen that in Romania. But I, just to be fair, I haven't covered much sex trafficking cases in the U.S. Like we usually just do RICO shit, right? Or like gun cases or something. All right. Chat, everybody got a homeboy that sells a dream. You know what I mean? Like he the type of nigga, he tell a girl he loved them third day in. Yeah, I love you, girl. Damn. Yo, I can't wait for us to have kids. You like, nigga, it's only been a week. Like, well, he tell her that. Yo, you my wife. Like, he don't even make the girl his girlfriend yet. He said, yo, that's wifey. He just start over promising. And women sometimes do fall victim for that, right? Or not necessarily victim, because I want to say, because I think women lie to men too. Like, you know, some people also say, no, I'm just lying, or that's just sometimes the honeymoon phase, like just saying shit you might not mean. It doesn't mean you're trying to manipulate, right? It's like you it's like you ever been in the middle of sex and say some shit you absolutely don't mean? And as soon as you get that post-nut clarity, if Shorty brings it up again, you're like, what? All right, we're waiting for the next tweet here, people. Okay. Cassie already had a boyfriend who was a producer when she met Diddy. She wanted Diddy money, so she left her man. Now, that is going to be a very interesting point, chat. The interesting point of Diddy's attorneys trying to make the argument to say, well, Cassandra Ventura is an opportunist. She's someone who chases the bag. She chases the check. She got a taste of the music industry lifestyle and what that opulence and, you know, that rich lifestyle looks like when she got with Ryan Leslie. And every time she tried to choose up, she got introduced to Diddy. She tried to choose up. She did. At times when she thought Diddy wasn't doing it for her, she tried to go link with Drake. Remember, there was rumors she was about to sign to Drake. Then, after years of trying, and these guys like understanding what she got going on, and it wasn't going anywhere, she falls in love with another guy who probably sold her a dream as well. And then after realizing her game of musical chairs of chasing the bag has eroded, she's now suing, and this lawsuit turned into a federal case. I mean, that could be an angle, right? That could be an angle. You got to tie the part that the only reason why she's trying to get millions is because she's used to the lifestyle and she was chasing the lifestyle. She's just an opportunist. That's a defense angle, right? All right, I don't know why we're not getting another tweet yet. What's going on? What's going on? All right. Somebody say, yeah, F this Me Too shit, man. Well, here's the thing, too. I think because once we hear there's a potential victim, we have to treat it with kid gloves, right? Like, I see a lot of these chicks, I see a lot of these chicks on, like, social media. Now, this is before, like, Cassie's time, and I'm not saying Cassie's necessarily this. But, like, I see a lot of these chicks, they literally let you know what it is. If he can't buy me D or he P or. Like, that's how they're running. So, later on, when they make any accusations, and you realize that their intent in the beginning was chasing money. Now, here's the thing. Is it reverse? And again, this might be a stupid point, but allow me to try to make it. If we're going to say that Diddy manipulated her by using her career and money over her head right? And opportunities over her head to get whatever freaky desires fulfilled from this woman, is it also safe to say that this woman used the idea of, oh, I'm just looking for love, but in reality, she was looking for the bag? That's manipulation too. Now, granted, she is testifying that she loved him, but still, a lot of these guys who got the money, they just want a chick who's going to be loyal and love them and do whatever they want, right? That's what they're looking for. The women know that. The women give that perception, sell that dream, so they're selling the dream too, but really what the women want is the bag. They'd rather cry in a Rolls Royce rather than a Honda. You get what I'm saying? So maybe it's manipulation on both sides. They're both playing a game. Now, when we hear it in court, and because every time when we talk about, especially women, but especially anybody who could be a victim, you got to handle with kid gloves, it's kind of insensitive to say, well, you manipulated him too. You manipulated him saying you were loyal. You manipulated him saying X, Y, and Z. You were cheating too. So the same things you claim he was abusing you doing, you were doing it too. You put your hands on him. You cheated on him too. You did a bunch of those things, even left him for the trainer. Again, I'm just trying to throw out theories that maybe how people could perceive this. Now, do I think a jury's going to think about it in that way? No, I don't. All right, let's see if we get another tweet. Huh. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, we haven't gotten a tweet in 10 minutes. Not too sure why. Okay, we just got one. Cool. Gustavo says, what did you write? Ventura says, are you hungry, Pop Pop? Is that weird to y'all? I guess you would. It's like when Kanye says, call me sir. I'm like, fuck. Ventura says, so Cassie says, you hungry, Pop Pop? That's the name for her grandfather, but she says that to Diddy. Gustavo says, and Mr. Combs wrote to you, we are so in love, we don't do anything else. Huh. How long has y'all been seeing each other? Now, maybe they were talking about sex or I don't know, but supposedly Diddy says, we're so in love, we don't do anything else. Ventura says this was 2.5 years into the relationship. So it's kind of establishing this pattern that, primarily all you and Diddy did was fuck. Like, I get this whole manipulation shit, but you admitted that the early stage of the relationship, it was loving. You admitted that this was supposedly the time that the quote unquote abuse ain't start. And Diddy's telling you, and you're calling him Pop Pop, he's buttering you up, but he's even telling you then, because later on she does complain about it. She complains that all we do is fuck. All we do is freak offs. It looks like they're trying to establish that Diddy's saying to her, we are so in love, we don't do anything else. Like maybe they in bed or they just fucked or whatever. So I guess they're trying to tell her or establish, from day one, all Diddy was doing is fucking you. That's all he wanted to do with you. Fuck. And you were down with it. You were down with it in the beginning. And then at some point you switched up, but you had chances to leave. How did you get trafficked when you could have left? Remember, they started out the question by saying, you kept coming back. Then they said, okay, when was this in the relationship? It says early, we were loving. Okay, so y'all were loving, it wasn't abuse, bet. But it's early. In 2009, you said, I'll fly anywhere for you. This is 2009. That's what she said, I'll fly anywhere for you. Cassie's saying they were loving then. So you said you would fly anywhere for him because you love him so much. He's telling you, damn, all we do is fuck. He's not complaining, but he's like, damn, we're so in love. That's kind of all we're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do anything else. I don't think, let me put that in context. He's basically saying, we just been fucking a lot, right? Because we're so in love, we don't really do anything else. And so how long y'all been seeing each other then? For 2.5 years. So I think they're trying to establish, like, there was no drastic shift from how Diddy first met her to what it ended up being. And Cassie had the opportunity to leave, but she ain't want to leave because of the lifestyle. She was chasing a check. She was chasing a bag. Again, for people who are just tuning in, I'm reading Cassandra's Ventura's cross-examination. We're about like 20 minutes in. Please note, if you hear me giving a scenario, I am playing devil's advocate to a certain extent. And also, this is the defense time. So I'm trying to put some, meaning to what we're seeing in tweets. The tweets sometimes are dry. I'm trying to put some meaning to it, how the defense is trying to get it to play. All right. All right. Estavo says, please read this. And this is on 1364. I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rush me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. Estavo says, you wanted your special time with Mr. Combs. Ventura says yes. Okay. All right. Also, it's very interesting that they put this tweet in there because I guess they're going to also, I'm pretty sure they're going to juxtapose this to later on, maybe Cassie. They're establishing that Cassie initially says, I don't want money. I just want you. And maybe she changes that. They're not going to bring up after the relationship because the relationship is over. And clearly she wanted money then because she asked for $30 million. But maybe towards the end of it, she would ask for gifts in exchange for, all right, listen, I need a bag. Like, we're going to Miami. We're going to do the hotel thing again. All right, I need a bag. And that might be a thing where they're saying, no, that's her coping and basically damn near being a little sex worker. LSW, as 50 would say. Because if you ask me, I think this probably started out as loving. And even if she did want the bag, only an idiot, any chick who really want the bag, who gonna get the bag, don't tell you they want the bag. Like, they just get the bag. They get the bag by getting you, right? They realize you're the bag, they get the bag with you. The bad gold diggers tell you they want the bag. And then they usually get the small bag and get the fuck out of there, right? I could see a world where Cassie sees Diddy as this, not only the bag, but falls in love with him rather quickly. Diddy seems to be extreme with everything. Let's fucking go to Mykonos. Let's go to fucking Paris. We're staying in the best places. Like, she's seen a lifestyle that is above every other lifestyle in hip hop. She has security tail in her. She has assistants that she could order around. And this guy is the representative of that. She loves this guy. She wants him to value her like how she values him. However, over time, she realized he ain't going to be faithful. He got other hoes. And he's a super freaky ass nigga. And it probably erodes that love or whatever. And she turns it into damn near transactional type of thing. Remember the Shannon Sharp shit? That girl wasn't asking Shannon Sharp for $25,000 a cheek when it just started. Is when it kind of erodes a bit, and she realized, oh, you're just gonna have other bitches. Oh, you're just gonna be disrespecting me. Oh, you're just gonna leak a video of you getting your dick sucked or you fucking on live. I bet. Well, buy me something, nigga. Now it's not about I just want your love. Whatever it is. Anyway, I might be reading too much into it and where this might go, but it is what it is. Okay, cool. All right, Chad. All right. So we are at. It's not 9:07. It's 10:07. I don't know why this is on Central Time. Okay. Yeah, 25 a cheek was crazy, right? But yeah, when we looked at the messages between her, it started out the same way. It started out, and I've seen this before. I've seen this with women with me. You first meet them, they're like, oh, I just love you. It's all about love. They catch you fucking two other girls, or they catch you like just being you. After a while, it then becomes, you start to see a little transactional, like that's the women disassociating at that point. They're like, all right, I'm gonna tolerate this shit, but I need this. You get what I'm saying? That's what's happening. I'm gonna tolerate this, but I need this. Just like how Shorty with Shannon is like, all right, in in the outside of, and I know some of y'all might be like, "What are you talking about?" Here, this is the reality of shit. If Cassie was with a regular boyfriend who brought another man in to fuck her, a sex worker, piss on her, and nut in her, and she wasn't with that, she's breaking up with him. A lot of times, these women know kind of a little bit, not even, these bitches know what they signing up for, bro. Let me tell you this. When a woman signs up to be with like a rich, famous guy, you know you're going to get cheated on 30 times. Let me ask y'all a question. All my chat queens and all my chat niggas. If your girl cheat on you, how many are you going to let her come back? Likewise with the females. I'm really asking this to females. If your man cheat on you, how many times you let him cheat and keep letting him come back? In this celebrity world, you let the person come back all the time because you are not trying to lose that whole the trove of wealth or resources the person has, and that's why it gets transactional after a while. So that's why I'm saying we see this all the time. These people just go in for love, but over time it becomes $25K per cheek. Not necessarily $25K per cheek, but you see it becomes, yo, I need this. Because mentally those women are saying, I need that to tolerate this. If I gotta tolerate you fucking a bitch on live and doing that, I need some money. That's why you even hear some of these women online, like they'll be like, oh yeah, did you hear Boston Richie girlfriend? He bought my forgiveness. Like she used to be arguing with his side girls and be like, yeah, he sent me 30K. And you get to realize if there were some regular people that had regular jobs and didn't have that amount of money between them, that girl is not going online saying she like bragging about how much she's forgiven him for cheating on her with the other woman. She would just leave. But there's a lot of money involved, right? I hope you guys understand that point. Okay. So Stavo says this. You testified you told him, I love you so much. You make me a better woman. Cassie says, I definitely wrote those messages. Oh, shit. Yo, Alex, fine. You better get her. You better get her, gang. You better get her. Told me I definitely wrote those messages. What? You definitely wrote, I love you so much. You made me a better woman. Yo, Alex, get her. That nigga Alex probably sitting there like Suge Knight, just cracking his knuckles like, yo, what the fuck? I would have dipped out of the courtroom after this. I definitely wrote those messages. Stavo says, you wrote, I can't wait until we have a baby of our own. You knew he has 6 children at that time, right? She says yes. What I tell you, chat, they're going to break it down. She's going to start crying in the worst way. Watch. They're going to break it down to her. Shorty, you just fell for the game. The nigga told you he was going to marry you, put a baby in you. You believed it. You were down for it. You wanted to do shit trying to get it. You could have left at any time. He wasn't lying. He did plan to have kids with you, but he realized you would cheat on him too. So he ain't want to have kids with you no more. You testified, you told him, I love you so much, you make me a better woman. She said, I definitely wrote those messages. You wrote, I can't wait till we have a baby of our own. So you could tell early on, she is interested in his idea. And by the way, don't we see this a lot? Like, chat, let's break this down to the skin and bones. We're seeing a pattern here. Young pretty girl gets with super wealthy or rich celebrity. I hate to bring up the Shannon Sharp shit, but I have to. Okay? We hear this idea, and they're getting with men who already have families. Shannon Sharp has 2 grown-ass kids. I think even older than Shorty, I believe. But we all hear about these women who then yearn to have a family with those guys. The woman was telling Shannon, I want to have your big black baby. Ventura is saying, I can't wait till we have a baby. So we're seeing a little bit of parallels in how, remember, she's probably 22, 23 at the time. Man, Diddy's 40, 45, whatever he was at that time. And she knew he had 6 kids. the pattern is these women get with a dude. They do fall in love. But a lot of times the love is represented by the power, the money, the status. You know, even if you want to call them a gold digger, you know, as I said, the stupid gold digger goes in and acts directly for the money. The smart one is going to have kids with you. They both of them are still gold diggers. One just knows you secure the bag with the child. You secure the bag with the child in the ring. That's the real bag secure. Really, the ring is no prenup. That's how you secure the bag. The dummy, the little stupid bitches on social media, they thought they secured the bag with a Chanel on they thing. Or, oh yeah, I'm driving a car. That shit can get repoed. So you see these women, they start talking or bringing up the idea of kids very early. Very early in the relationship. Diddy had 6 kids at the time. Kim Porter, I believe, was still alive. You think that Diddy was thinking about having kids with this woman who, I think we could kind of deduce, this was Diddy's fun girl. Fuck object. Or, as we learned pretty much yesterday or the day before, this was Diddy's beard, if you know that term. The person who could be the conduit and the middle person to hide his homoerotic desires. Diddy wanted semen. Cassie testified to that. She would scoop the semen out of her box and oil it into his nipples. Anyway, let's keep it going. It's interesting watching this strategy. Anybody watch football? What's your favorite football team? You know, in the beginning of a football game, when you have a great quarterback or you have a great offensive coach, you usually see they'll try a run, they'll try 2 runs to set up the play action. 40-yard pass, post route. Okay, cool. They'll do a few slant passes to set up a misdirection run by like Saquon to the out of bounds, not through the offensive line. If y'all get what I'm saying. So I think what's happening here, and I think we're looking for direction. I think what Estavo is doing is she's setting up a few things. She's setting it up. She ain't hit it's not Hail Mary. She ain't hit the play action yet. But the Patriots been down bad for a while. Yeah, setting up the baby oil play, right? I get it. So she's setting it up right now. But we, as we're watching all these tweets come through, we're trying to figure out where she's going. I feel like we have a good grasp. Here we go, though. So now, these messages about the freak off. Okay, look like she's about to do the play now. When you say, it don't matter to me, you mean weekend or weekday?
Want to start a business? Start with an address.
Either is fine. Oh, interesting. Ventura says that's what it says. So she's agreeing with the message. So look like there's a message about the freak off where she says, you know, it doesn't matter to me, Sean. You mean weekend or weekday, either is fine. She says that's what it says. Estavo says, Mr. Combs says, maybe we can call Jules. Can you do it? She says yes. All right, chat. It's about to happen now. It's about to happen. They're about to lock in on her ass. So what they set up initially was Cassie even bringing up the idea of family, kids. Cassie saying and volunteering the idea of, Diddy, I want to be with you so much, I'll fly anywhere for you. Cassie, who seemingly is saying, hey, anytime, anywhere, any day, I'll be there. Just bring the baby oil. She was down for the freak off whenever. Wait, what? Says timeout. Where they're getting these texts from? Everyone's devices were seized, and there were subpoenas sent out to phone companies. They have all the text messages between them. Last night, so what happens is you enter text or you enter exhibits into evidence that you plan to bring up in court. Last night, after Cassie got finished with her her direct, they got out of court at 5. Diddy's defense team stayed up till 3 a.m. and came up with 400 more exhibits. We don't know if they're all texts, but these ones are texts. They're using these texts to counteract what she said yesterday. That's their goal. That's their first goal. And then they're going to go into their original plan of breaking her down. So these exhibits and text messages we're talking about, we're saying where they're coming from, they've always been there. They pulled 400 more of them yesterday or last night or this morning, actually, at 3 a.m. Gustavo says there was an explicit message about you about the anticipated upcoming freak off. AUSA says objection. Now, the AUSA is tight. The AUSA has already brought up that they believe that Diddy's team is trying to do a trial by ambush, which means that they're trying to pop up in court with shit that they had no chance to be prepared for. Someone said this trial might be better reading it. Well, if we could watch it, it would have been crazy. Watching it would be insane. Especially if we could look at the faces of a few people. The faces of Diddy family, the faces of Alex Fine, the face of Diddy himself, of course. The six pack of white milk, you know what I mean? The white women who are all sitting at the prosecution table. The 9 lawyers huddled around Diddy. And obviously they would never show this, but the jurors are seeing sex tapes, pornographic images. Like, you have to imagine some of these things are going to be super graphic. Do you ever see the pictures that got leaked of Cassie? There are rumors that some of these pictures and videos of Cassie that Diddy was taking would be sometimes after a multi-day freak off. Now, I want to give you the image of this. The 8-9 times. Remember, it's days long. She's off all type of drugs. Diddy would have these guys beat the pussy up into submission, tenderize that bitch. One after the other. She got a UTI. She is in pain. God knows what else other, I think they did do a good job of, having some type of respect for maybe even other health ailments. Because if you think that a UTI is the only thing they caught up in them freak-offs, you're sadly mistaken. Remember, we have a prostitute who claims he contracted the herpes virus, and he claims it was during the freak-offs. So you put 1 and 1 together, and if you get 11, that's on you. But if you get 2, you know what you're talking about. So Cassie was, in her opinion, was forced to perform no matter what was going on. UTI, yeast infection, breakouts, whatever the fuck may have been the situation. And Diddy would have nigga after nigga after nigga. And at times, they said Diddy would say, they said, you can't send a boy to go do a man's job. They said Diddy would say, man, get out that pussy. It's my turn. It's my turn now on some Skip Bayless. It's my turn now. He go fuck her for a bit. And then sometimes, apparently, he'd be on some extra freaky shit. He'd put a camera there and go watch it from the next room. You know what he was probably doing? He want to look at the man, not the woman. Come on now. But all of these things supposedly exist, and this is why when we talk about, someone says it's probably better reading it. Yeah, we get to do Sports Center shit here, right? Like when I'm here, I get to do Sports Center shit. But if we could watch it, especially if we could see the faces of those people, we ain't even got to see the sex tapes. If you see Cassie with a fucking football size gaping hole after a 4-day long 24/7 freak off just ended, you might be like, damn, holy. Anyway, the judge says we're going to take a recess. I guarantee that recess is because I keep telling you, they're objecting to everything. The AUSA feels like Diddy's lawyers are trying to ambush Cassie and ambush their case. Diddy has 9 lawyers, access to all the paralegals, and they came prepared. They came with 400 new shit today that they got from added on from yesterday. You know what Diddy's lawyers are saying to the AUSA? It's not like we went out and got this independently. You gave us this in discovery. You gave us, remember how voluminous the discovery was. Terabytes on terabytes of data, from security footage to not only that, but also gigabytes and gigabytes of just text messages. So there's a lot of text messages that won't get used. But now what they're going to do is they're going to go back and be like, oh, she did say this on a stand yesterday. Let's go find a message that correlates and it actually goes against what she just said. We're going to ask her about that. So they're going to come in every day. And I think the judges said, hey, listen, could you not show up every morning with like a bunch of new shit? They're telling the judge, how can we not? We're on defense. We're reacting to what was said yesterday. It's not like
inside a Discovery Bank card, there's more world traveling, more healthy eating, and more happy spending. Because
we're bringing some new shit that is just going to be us making our case. We're reacting to this witness and what they said. Now, granted, they shouldn't do it again for tomorrow, because tomorrow, whatever you had going into today, you should have for whatever the rest of the time she's on the stand. If they do it for tomorrow, the judge is going to scold them, I think. So they're taking a break. They're taking a break here, people. They're taking a break.
In New York City.
Here we go.
Lisa, thank you so much for
before where a defense.
I believe this recess was called due to the amount of objections. It's been 5 or 6 objections in like half an hour, but really in consecutive basis since they've started talking about these exhibits, which happen to be text messages that were pulled by Diddy's defense team, and they want to establish this idea. And if we could go back up again, the idea that they're establishing is that, Cassie was very into and willing for all of these ideas in the relationship. Now, granted, they did make a note that this was early on. She said we were loving, we were in love. And maybe they're going to use that to be the thing to say, okay, so you're saying that you were not being sex trafficked because you were loving him, but as soon as y'all start cheating on each other and the love starts to subside, now you feel you're being sex trafficked, even though you could have left at any time. Maybe that's the angle they're going with, but they definitely they were trying to establish a few things. Let me get to posting. I wanted to post something real quick. Give me 1 second. I had no idea about this, by the way. Apparently Diddy must have bought her a chain that said Pop Pop, and she used to wear it. I had no idea. By the way, I think this is when she also has a shaved head. I think this is when she has a shaved head, y'all. Here we go. I'm posting it to the by the way, the page that I posted to, this is the page. I only post stuff that we should look at on stream. It's not really a blog page at all. Here we go. So this is Cassie with the shaved head. And if you notice the chain right here, it says Pop Pop. So looked like they were taking that pretty, I wonder how her grandfather felt. I don't know if her grandfather passed or anything, but I wonder how he felt. Clearly, the father felt away. Maybe if somebody, if the boyfriend of your daughter calls you up or you're on the phone with him and he says, "Nigga, fuck you, nigga, I'm her father now." Like, that's crazy. Anyway, we're waiting on some more tweets here. Waiting on some more tweets. They are on break. But it was established, it appears, or they tried to establish that it's a Miss Ventura. Did you love Mr. Combs? She said, I did. She said, for 11 years, did you take care of him? She said, in some ways. Did you call him larger than life? She said, I did. Others called him Diddy or Puff, but you called him Sean, right? She said, yes. Estavo says, you knew a version of him the world couldn't see. She said, there was an objection. It was overruled. It said, in what ways? Estavo then says, you kept coming back to him, right? For 11 years? Ventura said, well, I wouldn't say coming back. Stavo says, you believe he loved you too, right? She said, I did believe he loved me too. Stavo said, so when he cheated on you, did it hurt? She said, not every time. Stavo then says, bring up this defense exhibit. By the way, they objected to it because it wasn't in evidence. The judge said, that's true, it's not in evidence. And then they did the runaround or the loop around. They said, all right, cool. We're just going to show it to her. Just read it to yourself. Why did you send this message? There was an objection there because they could have objected, because usually you would ask the person, do you recognize these messages? Did you send them first? But they kind of assumed it in the question. Ventura answered anyway. She said to let him know I was going to dinner. Stavo then says, what was going on when these messages were sent? Ventura says, I don't know. Stavo then says, what was going on in your relationship then? Ventura says, it was early. We were loving. And Stavo says, I offer it. AUSA objects. It says it's being offered for the truth. This was overruled, so it was ruled in Diddy's favor. Stavo then says, hey, listen, I think it's Estevao? Like, I'm fucking up her name. I'm just going to call her Stavo. Like, you just know who I'm talking about. Ventura said, I wrote, I love you, smiley face. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you, Cass. Okay? Estavo says, this is a 2009 email, right? The AUSA says, objection. It's another objection, hearsay. It says, Mrs. Stavo, could you ask more questions, please? Or ask in a different way or whatever. Stavo says, from BlackBerry, what is BG? It says, baby girl. It says, well, what did you write? You hungry, pop? So it's kind of showing that these were like really loving terms, and it was a loving environment. It says, Estavo says, and Mr. Combs wrote to you, we're so in love, we don't do anything else. How long has y'all been seeing each other? She said, like 2.5 years. Stavo then says, please read this. This is 1364. Ventura says, I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rushed me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. Estavo says, you want to spend special time with Mr. Combs. Now, I think this is going to be important right here. It seems that 2.5 years into the relationship was starting to also change. She was desperate to, not only you're going to hear her talk about wanting to have kids with him, she was desperate to try to get more of his time. So I think this might lead into the freak offs and say, hey, listen, didn't you, out of your own sound mind and you wanting to do something extra? Because remember, she also admitted on the stand, right? So this is why I think they're piggybacking off of that. She admitted on the stand, on direct, she said, I did the freak offs with him because I felt I had to. I felt if I didn't do it, he would do it with another girl. What they're also driving home here is that she was so desperate for attention, she probably would have done things that she may later say she didn't want to do. But did she do it because he forced her to do it? No. She did it because she wanted more access to him. She wanted to have some one-on-one time with him. By the way, it was she also testified on direct that she would get to have one-on-one time with him at times after the freak offs. So it looked like that was her. It's very clear that Diddy wasn't hanging out with her, just hanging with her. Like when he was hanging with her, he was fucking. Like it was, even if you see videos of them, this was before the fucking or after the fucking, right? It looked like she wanted more of his time. And one way to get more of his time, she knows he's a freaky ass nigga. She's like, I'll get down with whatever the freak shit you're doing that we could spend more time. Because you got to imagine, he's probably saying, Sandra, yo, I got to go, like, I'm about to go do something else. She kind of knows, like, oh, he about to go fuck another bitch. I'm not going to be around. I want to be around him. So the defense is trying to say she put herself in that position or basically volunteered for these things because she sought his attention. He never forced her. I think that's a good defense. I ain't force you. If put it like this, I don't know. I'm making up something crazy. I know I don't. The only thing I do is drink. Say a chick likes me, right? She really likes me. She wants to spend time with me. I'm a coke addict. I keep having to go A, B, and C to go to these coke sniffing parties. She don't do coke. She realizes she can't spend time with me because I'm always going to chase this high, and I'm a cokehead. She decides because she wants to be with me so much, nah, take me with you. Like, nah, I want to try it. Take me with you. I'm like, all right. I take her with me. We both go do coke. It becomes a thing. She realizes now she could tag along every time I go do coke. She becomes a cokehead. Did I make her a cokehead? Do you get what I'm saying? Did I make her a cokehead? That's going to be an interesting point of concern, I would imagine, for the jurors to determine. Okay, what is this? What is this? They're back. Mr. Stavo says, you may proceed. That's what the judge says. Stavo says, Ms. Ventura, this is from Combs to you. You respond with an explicit message, right? She says, yes. This is 2 days after the planning of a freak off, right? She says, yes. Okay. So they are back. This is 10:48 a.m. We're going to see where this goes. Somebody said, you think that's a good defense? Well, I think that's what they're carving out. I think they're going to carve out many different defenses, but that seems to be one that's kind of now becoming a little bit clearer. Hey, you put yourself in these positions. He never forced you. Yes, Diddy's a freaky ass nigga. You wanted him so bad, you wanted to engage in these freaky ass behavior because you wanted to be with him. You wanted more time from him. Again, this is going to be very important. Looked like he was either preoccupied by doing the freak offs without her, right? Look what it says. Look what it says. I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rush me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. She was desperately clinging on. This is 2.5 years into it. She's desperately clinging on to, I want you. I want to be around you. Well, if you're going to be around Diddy, that means you're going to be in the freak offs. Because that's what Diddy was trying to do. He was trying to get his rocks off. Diddy's up hundreds of millions of dollars, and all he want to do is nut or feel other men's semen on his nipples. Then it says, you testified, you told him, I love you so much, you make me a better woman. She says, I definitely wrote those messages. Stavo then says, you wrote, I can't wait till we have a baby of our own. You knew we had 6 kids, right? She did. They're kind of painting that picture like, yo, Cassie, you knew what it is, man. Let's see, we got some more. Yeah. So after she sends him an explicit message, it says extremely explicit. So we don't know what it is. By the way, the objection by the prosecutor was for that message not to get described. So maybe they showed it with the privacy screen to the jury and maybe, whatever, but it's not being described in the gallery or described even on the record, even though I think if it's going to be a picture that's in evidence. By the way, the judges agreed all pornographic images that are in evidence are going to be under seal. They're going to be put under seal. So the only way for you to see them at this time is going to be in court, but they've kind of even barred the people that are not the jurors to see them. I think there's some conversations about certain videos, though, that they want to be played to at least the press. And not necessarily to the press, but they feel everybody should be able to see, not just the jurors and AUSAs and defense. Okay. So Stavo says, how did you reply? Estavo says, he said, I want to see. How did you reply? So I guess she says some freaky shit to him. He says, I want to see. So they're asking. So she initiates some freaky shit. He says, I want to see. He said, how did you reply? Ventura says, I can't wait either. Estavo says, you wrote, I feel like I want to fuck, right? She says, that's what it says. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That response there, and we've heard her say this twice now. Keep in mind,
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want. You can have really relaxed, slow-paced stuff where you can take it easy. Or you could be on the edge of your seat, shaking, making split-second decisions. This is Eve. You know, it's a crazy universe where anything can happen, and however you want to do it, go for it.
her responses when it says something about love, she says, I definitely wrote those messages. They start saying things about, so you say you were down for the freak off weekend, weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You were down for it anytime. She doesn't say, yeah, I definitely sent that. You know what she says? That's what it says. I think the jury is going to take note of that. This is going against what she has testified yesterday. So even in her demeanor or her words describing or affirming that she said these things, that's what it says. Then they get to hear. You said, I feel I want to fuck, right? That's what it says. Mr. Combs says, I'm so horny I can't concentrate. What do you say? That I'll go to Dwayne Reed for candles, then set up the room. Okay. This is important, chat. This is important. You know what this is saying? You know what this is saying, chat.